Hey friends, it's Destry. Welcome back to my yard. Today we're going to be tackling a kind of maintenance task of fertilizing and trimming our blueberry bushes that we have here in our yard. So hopefully this video will help you if you have any blueberry bushes or just to learn a little bit more about growing blueberries. So stick around and check out the video. So when my husband and I very first got married and moved into my house, our house here, about 12 years ago, maybe more, one of the first things we did was plant 2 blueberry bushes, and they were about this big, little babies here in our backyard. And since then, we have just enjoyed them every single year. But every single year, right around this time, so early spring, kind of you know, here we are like mid-February. It's the time that they will start to swell with little buds, and it's time to trim them back a little bit. It's also time to use some fertilizer on them just to make sure that they have the best berry production possible. So I wish I could tell you exactly what kind of blueberry bushes these are. I don't know exactly. I do know that they, you know, produce the buds and the blooms every year. But honestly, in the past, I've been pretty minimal with trimming them. And I think this year I need to be a little bit more aggressive, and I'll show you why. We also have several blueberry bushes in the front of our home, kind of that create kind of a hedge because our family just loves blueberries. And it's so great to have a great crop of them every year because we can freeze them and we use them all year long. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about the fertilizer and the trimming method. So I got this fertilizer at a local place to me called Down to Earth. You can find any kind of acid mix fertilizer. So this one is a 436, and you can see it has the blueberries on the box. So that's how I know it's going to be perfect for this. But just to kind of read you what it says here, it says it's blended specifically for acid soil loving plants like blueberries, rhododendrons, azaleas, hydrangeas, evergreen trees and shrubs, raspberries, and other plants that thrive in a low pH soil. To encourage lush flowers and fruit, apply acid mix in early spring for vegetative growth and again when blooms appear. Fall applications can help promote root growth and boost resistance to extreme winter temperatures. So for this one, I am going to use about 1 to 2 cups of this kind of powdered granulated fertilizer, and I'm just going to dig it into the base of the plants. Now this is the same fertilizer I've used for many years now, and I'll tell you, it does seem to do the trick. I don't usually do it twice in the spring, but if I have enough left over, I might. What I try to do is just one really liberal, you know, fertilization right around this time of year when I start to notice the little buds swelling on the plant. So I'm going to get going on that today. So for pruning today, I've got my big loppers and a smaller pair of clippers. And the method that I'm going to do is one that I've done a little research on. I did do a little YouTubing and reading about the proper way to do this. And like I said, I have done it several times before, and I don't think it's something you can completely mess up. I feel like a little bit of pruning on plants like this is better than no pruning at all. And but I am going to try something a little different this year, where I'm going to be removing more of the canes. So the canes are the bigger, kind of, you know, thicker stalks at the bottom. And if you follow that cane up, you can see which ones are old canes and which ones are new growth. And so I do think that the base of my blueberry bushes, especially these 2, these are my oldest ones, I feel like they need to be thinned out a little bit because we did have some problems last year with the weight of the berries, which sounds weird, but when those blueberries get thick, they really can weight down some of these branches. So what you want to have are some really hardy branches and not a lot of really thin ones, because that way they don't, you know, drape or droop as much, and you get kind of a better shape of your plant. So I definitely need to do some pruning here. I'm going to zoom in my camera a little bit and kind of show you what I mean, and hopefully we can whack a little bit back off these blueberry bushes today. So of course Max is out here deciding to be a part of my blueberry trimming today and help me out. He's got a piece of butterfly bush there that he's working on, but let me go ahead and show you the base of these blueberries. It's a nice, beautiful, sunny February day, but here's what happened. Last year, we had some of these stalks that were just, I mean, we had to kind of support them, And so we did put a support stake. I think you can kind of see it right here, back in here. And then my husband used zip ties to kind of just hold everybody together to try to create a little more structure for this bush. Now, I don't think this is the best solution, but it's what we figured out last year. So my goal today is to kind of get in here and figure out which ones of these older canes that I can basically let go, because it's just too crowded down in here. So you can kind of see this is an example of an older cane here, and then here would be like a newer cane. And the newer canes are going to produce more fruit. And you know, some of these older canes really need to go. Also, you want to look for ones that are like crisscrossing each other and ones that just don't have very much fruit on the end. So my plan here is to look at these canes at the bottom, follow them all the way up to a top branch, and decide if that branch, you know, looks healthy and if it has any buds on it. So you can see this one has very few buds on it. It does have one little spindly branch here, so that's definitely one that I can let go. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna have to kind of go in here, and you can also see branches that are dead. So you definitely want to get rid of anything that looks, you know, crisp. It's not green on the inside. You can take your fingernail and kind of scratch it. You can see that's brown underneath there, not green. So that is a dead branch. So anything that looks diseased, dead, or damaged. So they call that the 3 Ds. That's where you want to start. But for mine in particular, I am going to start down here at the bottom and really assess what's going on down here, remove the zip ties, and hopefully, you know, it won't need that support anymore. I think I'm going to remove them. I haven't totally decided, but I think if I do a better job pruning, then I'm hopefully not going to need them. So here would be another example of a branch that's dead, right? So that would be one of the Ds, versus, you know, a branch that has some buds on it, like this one here. So right around this time of year is actually perfect for this task, because you can get in here and start to see which branches look healthy, which ones look like they might have a little bit of disease to them, or they just don't look as healthy, and get in here and prune these back. You can also see from mine, they sort of, the back up here, they sort of lean over this way, and that's kind of because of this butterfly bush. You know, we lost most of our butterfly bush in an ice storm. It used to be, I mean, it was what they call a 2-story plant. It was just really, really tall and huge. But I think this year our blueberries are going to get a lot more sun, so hopefully they won't have to lean so far over this way to, you know, get the sun that they need this spring, because this has lost a lot of its bigger branches, which is probably a good thing in a way. We had nature do some pruning on our butterfly bush this year. Anyway, so I'm going to get on in here and just kind of go for it. I'll try to take you through a little bit, but I'll probably speed up the video just because I just think that might be more entertaining to watch. But hopefully you can kind of see down in here, you know, what decisions I'm going to be making. And it really is just one decision at a time. You know, the other thing I could do is look at branches that are dead up here and then follow that branch back, and then even follow it back further to see if maybe a bigger cane needs to be taken out from the bottom. So anyway, that's my plan. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon. Milo and Max are hanging out with me in the yard, and we're just going to get after it today. So let's get going. Like, I just wanted to also show you why I have upside down tomato cages here, is to protect my bulbs, which are all popping up, from dogs running through them. So anyway, this was my creative solution to dogs running through and ruining my bulbs, and it seems to be working pretty well. So anyway, if you're wondering why I have tomato cages on top of my daffodils, that would be why, because I have 2 crazy dogs. Does anyone else have to do this? Tell me in the comments. you can see, I'm removing a lot of the old canes. I definitely need to get in on this one too, because I feel like, you know, a few more of these need to go. It's pretty thick in there still, but it's kind of hard because you can see, you know, all the new blooms, and all of these are going to be blueberries. So it's really like, it's hard to let them go. But then again, if you look at the overall health of the cane, it's, you know, there's some that's like, I think if I thin them out, it's just going to be a healthier plant, and it will let more air into the base of the plant here. You can see my cool little step stool fell over. But anyway, so this one's looking a little bit better. I still have some work to do on this one. Okay guys, so here is my pile of what I removed. It's kind of hard to with this lighting because, you know, it's that winter sun that's kind of low on the horizon. So you can see, I mean, I took out quite a bit. So here's how they're looking now. And I know it's hard to see with brown on brown, but I did leave some of the zip ties attached to the staking just to kind of help them, you know, be more upright, I guess. The only ones I'm kind of wondering about are these two, just because there's kind of a gap here, but I'm hoping some of these smaller canes will, you know, beef up this year, and that will have a better shape, because I feel like it's kind of empty right there. I don't know if you can even see this on the video, but they do look a lot better. They look a little bit more, you know, they look pruned, they look trimmed. You know, are we going to have less blueberries? Yes. However, you know, the ones that we do get are going to be plumper and juicier, and overall I think this was really needed for these plants. They've been here a long time, and I think they really needed a little bit of a harder prune this year, and to take out some of the old canes. Hopefully some of the new canes will grow in, and you can see there are some down there that, you know, are coming in, but I think hopefully that will make room for even more new growth. So now I'm going to go ahead and get going on my fertilizer. I've got my handy dandy little stool here, and I've got my fertilizer, so I'm just going to start digging that into the base of the plants. And tomorrow it's going to rain, so that's going to be perfect. It's going to rain it all in for me. So here we go with fertilizing. All right, well, these are done for now. I realized the mulch was a little high up on the base of the plant, so I scooped a lot of that away, fertilized, and now I'm ready to move on to the blueberries in the front yard. Such a beautiful day out here. All right, I've got all my supplies, and I'm gonna go out to the front yard and start working on my blueberries out there. Now, the ones out there aren't as old. I would say they're probably 3 years old, maybe. So I don't think there's going to be as many of like the old canes. It's probably just going to be a little faster of a job. Those ones I really did want to kind of give them a hard prune this year, but the ones out here should go a little bit faster. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on those. So here are my blueberries in the front yard. So you can see, I mean, they still are pretty big, but they're not quite as, I don't know, maybe they're not quite as substantial as the ones in the back, but now that I'm looking at them, maybe they are. Anyway, so this is my next task here, is to take a look at what we've got going on up here. Okay guys, so I just wanted to show you what I'm doing before I put the fertilizer in, I'm really like digging back underneath and removing a lot of this compost that I had put down. This was, you know, tree shavings or whatever, and some mulch that I had put down in the fall just to help keep those root balls really protected. But now, you know, it's starting to warm up for spring a little bit, so I'm pulling that stuff back before I fertilize, trying to get down to where it's more bare earth so that I can really dig in the fertilizer. And then I'll probably put a little bit of the mulch back, but I don't want it as high as it was. It was really covering the crown of most of these plants, and that's kind of bad news for these. So you can see, you know, right in here, I could even remove some more, but all this debris and stuff in the middle of the crown is what I want to try to eliminate as much as I can, because you can see the new growth needs to come out of there, and if it gets too wet, especially in the Pacific Northwest, it will cause some fungus and disease. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. And then this is what I clipped. So not very much on these front ones, you know, I didn't go as hard as I did on the ones in back, but I think they're going to be great. I'm going to fertilize them now, and then I will be done with this task for today. Okay, all done. All the fertilizers dug in, and the mulch is away from the crowns a bit. And honestly, if it wasn't going to rain this week, I would water this in, but because we're so wet here in Oregon this time of year anyway, in the spring, it's going to rain it in. It'll be perfect. So anyway, I'm feeling really good about what I got done. Hoping these will be happy blueberries this summer. And yeah, I hope it was helpful to watch me do this today, and hopefully it will motivate you to get out there and prune your blueberries. While I'm at it, I was going to show you a couple other things. So let me go show you something. So this is my forsythia bush, and you can see it's budding up. So what I think I'm going to do while I'm out here, you guys, is I am going to cut some of these branches and try to force them indoors, which basically means I'm going to put them in a vase and into the warm climate of my house, and I am going to have some blooms. So I'm going to give this a try. Tell me in the comments if you've ever done that with spring blooming branches. But oh my gosh, you can see, look at, they're just about to pop. The forsythia is one of the first things that blooms in, I would say, like March maybe. So I'm going to come out here. I'm not going to prune it, although it does need a good prune, but I'm just going to come out here and find probably some of the longer branches, and just cut them and put them in a vase, and I will let you know how that goes, because I'm going to try to have them bloom indoors. So more to come on that update. And the other thing I got done the other day, and I forgot to film it just because I was just in a mode to do it, but I whacked back my rows, and I kind of did the same thing here. So I would say the process is pretty similar to the blueberries. You basically just go down to where there's some fresh growth, or, you know, a node. You clean out any of the dead branches down here as much as you can. I did take I pulled some of that mulch away, and you can see all those white kind of gray granules. That's the fertilizer. So I did fertilize, and you know, it did rain a couple days. It's still gonna continue to work itself into the soil, but that's how that turned out. And before I pruned it, I mean, it was, I don't even know, I can't even show you. It was so tall. So I think it's looking good. It's going to be good for the spring. It's ready to go. And I haven't cleaned up my branches yet, so I still need to do that. So that gives you an idea of how much I pruned. I mean, there's 2 huge piles here that I need to deal with, but they're so pokey and stuff that I want to make my husband come do it, because I don't want to do it. And then the rhodie behind there is all budded up. It's about ready to pop for spring. So that's exciting too. Look at these buds. So exciting. So anyway, I got my rows done, got my blueberry bushes done. I'm feeling pretty accomplished with some of my spring tasks that I need to get going. I think that's going to be it for my tasks in the yard today. I hope that like I said, I hope it motivated you to get out there and trim those blueberries back, or maybe plant some blueberries if you've never tried blueberries and you want to, you know, give them a try. They're a really fun plant to grow, and of course they're delicious. So give them a try, put some in the ground this spring, you won't regret it. And if you have some blueberries that need trimmed and fertilized, and now is the time to do that. At least in my area, I'm zone 8B. Anyway, anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. And if you need me, I'll be hanging out in the yard. See you guys next time. Bye.